Hello and welcome back to Stay Plugged In. My name is Sheridan, and today I am here with FooJ, a high school senior who received over $1.1 million in college scholarship offers and who recently committed to Siena Heights University.
I'm Jeffrey Fujimoto, otherwise known as FooJ on Stay Plugged In and basically every other social. I went to Foothill High School. I play Rocket League, and I will be attending Siena Heights.
And so how did you get into Rocket League?
I've been really into like sports games and competitive games all through my life since I was a kid. And then I grinded Fortnite for a while during like the COVID era, and then I just decided to when free to play came out, because I had already been playing Rocket League on console for a while, but when free to play came out, I decided to just start putting more time in. And then recently I got some coaching, and then it just went out, and here I am.
How did you find out that you could compete or that you could get a college scholarship?
Honestly, I'd probably say through XP League. So I played in the Irvine location, but I'm really good friends and like basically now, since I'm not in XP League, partners with the Franklin location. And three of my friends that were on the team all went to a few lands for Stay Plugged In. I'm trying to think of which ones, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. And they actually won them. So then they had a lot of college scholarships and colleges hitting them up. So then I asked them about it. They said Stay Plugged In. And then at the time, I think it was free. So I talked to Suave when it was free. And then I realized how much it could do for me. So when it went premium, it was just an instant. I needed to buy this because I knew my future was depending on this.
When you started to look at colleges to play esports, what were you looking for in a program?
So I live in California right now. So I was looking for schools around California. There's not many in Stay Plugged In. So then I had to expand my broadening taste. And then I went North Carolina because I have family out there. I found a really good school out there. I literally back then I probably would have committed there. And then I looked New Jersey, Pennsylvania. And then once I was that far, I was like, you know what? Why don't we just look all around? Because I don't know what I could find. Maybe it's the school that's right for me. And I mean, Siena Heights was exactly that.
Why did you choose Siena Heights?
Coach Rob, actually, the esports director for Siena Heights, actually went. And everyone said that they loved him. Everyone said all this great stuff about him. And I had an interview with him earlier. And he just seemed like a really great guy. He knew what he was talking about. He coached football before. He played football for Siena Heights. And I kind of like connected with me because I did the same thing. So we got off talking, and then it took like time before I responded back to him because I was still thinking on and then I started consistently talking to him probably a month ago, I'd say, and asking questions, and it kind of took off and then I met all their players when I got invited to their Discord, and it just felt like family, and I guess that's what Siena Heights is.
Yeah, I love that. And so let's talk about your recruitment experience from start to finish.
Some of my first, when I first got on Stay Plugged In, the first thing I typed in when I looked for a state was California. There were two great schools. They just weren't for me. One is USK, University of St. Catherine. Great school. Love their esports director. I just physically felt like that wasn't for me. And same with Westcliff. I met the whole Westcliff team. I love them. I still hang out with them to this day. But I just felt like it wasn't for me. So then after I thought, okay, so California schools, that's kind of out of the way. I then found out I wanted to go back east because CRL, all pro play, back east. I went to North Carolina. I found NC Wesleyan. I love Too Toxic Tony. He's the esports director. Such a great guy. We had such good conversations. I just realized that for me, I either want to be super close to family, which it's like 4 hours away, or I just want to be kind of solo and live my college life out. So I went to New Jersey. I looked schools close to because I have family in Pennsylvania. So excuse me. I had Alvernia, and then I had and then Alvernia was a great school as well. Early talked to me. I love that guy. Every single esports director I talked to was a pleasure of meeting and talking to. And then I had just once I found that, I was like, okay, I don't know if this is for me, to look for close to family. So I started talking to everybody, some notable some schools that I were mainly focused on. It came down to two schools really in the end. It was Siena Heights, which I obviously picked, and Bruton Parker College. And Bruton Parker College treated me so well. And then, oh, there was Columbia, Missouri, which had just actually won CRL, which was huge because if I wanted to improve and stay in the West Coast, they're Central, so they could pick a side, and they picked West. So it was Columbia, great school. I had to do a tryout, and then by that time, that I'm pretty sure he would have given me if I would have made the team or not. I had already committed to Siena Heights. Bruton Parker, great school. Love the coach, love the director, love all the players. I just wanted to, for my academics, and what I wanted to major in, Siena Heights was the right fit. And then through all of that, despite I named only those few schools, I've talked to countless of schools, and I think racked up over $1.1 million in offers from multiple different schools.
How does that feel?
Honestly, it didn't feel kind of real. So my whole school didn't kind of know anything. I didn't tell anyone. I kind of kept it to myself off like the record. And then right when I committed to Siena Heights, I had the list of all the schools that I talked to, everyone that offered me, sent that to them, and they said, "Wow, this is a lot." And then I counted it, and it was over 1.1 million, and it just kind of blew me away because when I first started this process, I was expecting to talk to a few schools and pick right away. And then just talking to a bunch of schools, hearing their point of views, hearing what their program's about, and hearing them all. Like, when I was growing up, I thought I would get offers, but it wouldn't be for Rocket League. I thought it would be football. So hearing that for Rocket League and hearing that I can do signing day with all the other athletes and everyone respects me in that, was wild. I could never ask for anything better.
Yeah, and you sent us the picture of your signing day. What was that like?
Um, it was wild. So our signing day at my school, we go by all the athletes by their sport. So it was the lacrosse athletes, and then the swim, dive, and water polo athletes, like the aquatic athletes, and then the field athletes. So it was like soccer, baseball, I want to say basketball, and then volleyball. And then they said last but not least, Jeffrey Fujimoto, and it literally like every single one of my friends that I've ever talked to, because I was on the football team, all the football players, everyone showed up, my teachers, and everyone was screaming and going wild. And it just literally just made me so happy. And once I signed that paper and it was official, nothing was better.
How did you eventually, like, you narrowed it down to the two schools, and you mentioned that Siena Heights is like family. How did you finally pick? Like, what did that, I'm sure you probably felt a lot of pressure maybe.
Yes.
Like, what was that like?
Okay, so that was honestly, and it's still to this day, don't regret my decision at all. I love Siena Heights and I'm so glad to go there. But it's like I could have chosen, as close as I was to Siena Heights, I was also super close to Bruton Parker. Met everybody. And that was one of the most difficult decisions I've ever made in my life. I talked to so Esports Tower has Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. There's coaches for all of them. I talked to every single coach for every division because I just needed to know. And then I was still kind of lost. And then I talked to Coach Katz, actually, my coach. And he goes, Rocket League is a super fun game, and it's amazing that it's going to be paying for most of your college. But it's college. Education comes first. And whatever you want to major in, you have to. So that kind of clicked in my head, and I was like, Siena Heights, it has to be. Because I want to be a financial advisor, and Siena Heights just is perfect for that. So then I talked to my parents about it to make sure that I was on the right path. And they totally agreed. And then it went into me telling Coach Cass told me to sleep on it. So I was like, okay, I'll sleep on it. Make sure, because it's a life-changing decision. And then it went into and then I told Coach Rob the next day and told, and then he like, accepted me with everything, and it was amazing. So then after I told Coach Rob, the hardest part was honestly telling all the schools that I had picked another school, because it was just every single one of these schools treated me so well and offered me a place into their own family, which was honestly one of the hardest parts, to tell them that I committed somewhere else. But doing that, and most of the schools actually wanted to know where I committed just so they could keep a track on my games, and they all supported me and they all supported my decision, which felt amazing. And then it just took off. I posted it on Twitter. That blew up. Posted it on my own Instagram because no one really knew. That blew up. Told my school. They went absolutely berserk because I'm the first ever esports recruit, maybe even in the area, but at my school ever. And it was just nothing's greater than it.
Yeah, absolutely. And how would you say Stay Plugged In and Suave helped you with like getting, all of these offers, but eventually getting into Siena Heights?
Unlike some of my friends, I never really did any Stay Plugged In events. I wasn't really proactive like that. But the way that I did it, because I never really had like a team that could play in those events. So what I decided was, okay, so if I can't play in these events, I need to reach out because they're not going to reach out to me since I'm not showing myself. So I reached out to probably hundreds of schools. Um, uh, yeah, probably 100, maybe a little less, probably like 80. Reached out to all these schools, told them because I really was interested in all their programs. So I went to schools that I was interested in. Said I am really interested in your program because they have like State Plugin has like little like questions that you can just ask. So I said I'm really interested in your program. And could you send me a friend request on Discord? And after they sent me the friend request on Discord, because it came like some would come right away, some wouldn't. So I would have to schedule times, and during those days, like Westcliff and North Carolina Wesleyan, like I said, great schools. I did it towards the beginning of the year when I was kind of worse. I was probably like champ two in threes and GC two and twos. So I was talking to them, great schools. They both offered me, and I was on top of the world. And then after most more schools, I started looking for more schools to make sure like that I was gonna be on the right path. And Stay Plugged In just made it so easy because it's you filter your Rocket League if you wanted if you played Rocket League, any game that you want. They have every game. um, so you filter your Rocket League and then just scroll through and see what you like. I even talked to Kiana, like a school in Canada. Like that was wild to me how I could go to Canada for Rocket League. Great school as well. Stay Plugged In just literally made what I was planning to do 10 times easier because if I didn't want to message him, I could just hit up their Discord, hey, which I think I did that for Siena Heights actually. And then Coach Rob got back to me as soon as possible. And then he actually like because most colleges which I would do the same, would wait till they got home or wait until they got the esports lab. But Coach Rob felt so eager to talk to me that he called me in his car on his way home. So we just talked for about an hour. And I actually missed the call the first time because I was on the way from school, actually football practice. And then Coach Rob just talked to me and it just felt right. But at the time, I still needed to look for other colleges to make sure that it did feel right. And then Stay Plugged In helped me do that, helped me label down my options. I talked to Suave through the process, and I kept asking me how many schools, because it's such like I had so many at some points. And I was like, I told him, I think I was labeled down to 4, which were Alvernia, Siena Heights, Columbia, Missouri, and Bruton Parker. And like a week later, I was like, it's down to 2. And then I think I would say 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, when I finally committed, I told Coach Rob, I told my coach, I told my parents, and then I told Suave. And it was just he said congrats, and then I told him how many like offers I got and how I talked to how many schools, and he was just mind blown.
Oh yeah, we all were. And would you say that, because you mentioned that you played football, would you say that playing sports like helped you become like an esports competitor? Like, do you think that helped you become a good recruit?
Oh, 100%. So playing football, I played football, I played lacrosse, I played baseball for a short time, I played basketball for a short time. I've played almost every sport besides soccer, which is Rocket League. But if you never play sports growing up, it's gonna be hard to be able to adapt to certain play styles and adapt to certain people you're playing with, and especially get along with them, because you don't know their way of thinking. And if you haven't played sports, you don't try to get into that mind. When you're playing sports, if you're playing quarterback, if you're playing anything, you have to learn what your wide receivers like to do, their tendencies, what they like to do, how they get open, how they do this. which is exactly the same in Rocket League. If your teammate likes to solo play a lot and score, then you're probably gonna have to play third or even second man. If your other teammate likes to play third, you have to play second man. Create as many passing opportunities as you can for your first man. Create space for him. And football and sports have helped me do that because I've always had to adapt. I played goalie, I played defense, I've played midi, I've played attack. I made all stars for attack and goalie like 2 years in a row. Um, it just helps you adapt. It's such a great playing sports is so worth it, especially as a kid, because you never have to worry about going to college when you're that young, so you can just focus on just getting better, having fun with your friends, playing sports, which 100% adapts to Rocket League because it even rotations like when you're playing football, well specifically when I played basketball, there's always a rotation in that. If like everything helps. Sports are amazing. I can't say any negatives for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what would you say set you apart as a recruit?
I carry myself very highly. My confidence, there's a difference between confidence and ego. So obviously, I'm very humble. I love everything I did. I came in knowing what I wanted, and I talked about myself. A lot of people talk about their game, hype themselves up, and they only care about asking questions about the game. Um, One of the first questions I asked every university was, "Is your school accredited?" Because if you go to an accredited school, despite some colleges are great and it's not accredited, most jobs in the future will not be looking at that. They don't really care about anything like that. They just care if it's an accredited degree, which every single school was accredited. So I was super hyped for that. So I would ask them questions that no one would really ask them, and then you have to keep communication because a lot of people I know would flake on interviews, and some during football seasons, even after, I would miss interviews, and I'd feel so bad that I'd apologize for probably like 5 minutes. Like I'd feel so bad, and just have it reschedule. And honestly, the schools that I did were so understanding of that. But what set me apart was that and my drive to get better. Every single school, I sent my improvement on how fast I was getting better, which was 2 months, was rapid, and how many hours I was putting in because everyone wants a dedicated person. And I told them I played football, so I know how to handle this. I was team captain on teams when I was really young, and I was team captain on actually kind of team captain. We didn't really enable a team captain, but I was always the oldest on the Irvine Dragons in XP League, so I kind of had to like make sure that these kids were always mentally prepared and everything. So what set me apart was kind of I wanted it more than anyone else. I knew that if I could get really good at gaming, I can get scholarships. And I drove so hard and needed to do so much and grinded so much, honestly. I asked for scrims. I literally after this I have scrims. After this I have replay reviews. I have so much scheduled for the week that I just wanted it more than 95% of the other people, if not 99. I can genuinely say that when it comes to Rocket League, I worked harder than 99, if not 100% of my opponents.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I really want to do.
Good. What advice would you give to other students who want to play esports in college?
A lot of people, especially in this industry, are very scared of rejection. Which when I was talking to a lot of schools in Stay Plugged In, a lot of the schools from Stay Plugged In, there's some schools that are big name, but most of the big name schools kind of don't subscribe. So you'd message someone like Mizzou or Pepperdine, because I did the same thing. They won't give you a scholarship. They can't even give you help to admission, but still reach out just in case, you know. Mizzou has a great team, so does Pepperdine. They all do. But I feel like people just need to stop being nervous about rejection on that, because there was a bunch of schools that I talked to. Multiple did stop replying or tell me that it wouldn't work out, and I was completely fine with it, because if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's just no reason to be scared of rejection, especially when it comes to applying for college. It's your future. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's why when Columbia asked me to try out, I took it exactly like that. It was a tryout. There's no reason for me to get scared. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'll go to another college. It's fine.
Yeah, and like you said, many of the college coaches are so nice, such nice professional people. The worst they're gonna say is no.
Yeah, the word and the second because I had to talk to a lot of colleges and tell them that I committed somewhere else. Every single one of them, the one that comes to mind is UMW, University of Mary Washington. He literally asked me my school because he wanted to keep tabs on my game and a bunch of other stuff. Another one that comes to mind is the University of Cumberland's. He asked me the same thing. He wants to keep track of my games because all these schools want to see these players succeed, even if it doesn't mean to go to their school. So there's no reason to be scared of rejection.
So you mentioned talking to your parents, and
Yeah,
this is something that we talk a lot about at Stay Plugged In. But how did you approach your parents about esports and esports scholarships?
it's actually kind of funny. So throughout my whole life, I've played games. Like I'd play obviously like tackle football my whole life, and then I'd get home, play Madden 2K. But there was always like they never wanted me because esports was never a thing. They always supported me, but they never wanted me to put all my marbles into one basket. So there were many times where over freshman year, if I drop one grade, I'm unplugged and they'd unplug the Wi-Fi and I wouldn't be able to play because they knew that if anything goes wrong, education's your best option. If Rocket League died, education's my best option. Um, they knew over COVID, we got into many arguments because they'd unplug me if my grades dropped, which it was so hard to learn over there. But it honestly helped me. And then I went junior year, and I think I got my first offer, and they were just mind blown because I had my first offer, and it was like they sent me the letter of intent, and once that happened, it like sparked in them that like this is real. Like because I was telling them that I was getting offers before, but most of the offers are just verbal offers. Those are like because the schools will offer you, and then once you commit, they usually send you the letter of intent.
Mm.
But this school sent me the letter of intent right away, and it was just mind blowing. So I talked to my mom, and then she kind of started like honestly probably showing me off, telling all her friends like my son got offers for gaming. Um, and then it just went into this year where, well, it's 2023 now. And I committed, and by the beginning of this year, I had over $1 million in offers. Just in 1 year, I gained over 1 million, and it was just amazing. Yeah, my parents have been supportive the whole time, and they've always wanted the best for me, and I can't thank them enough for that.
Yeah, and how do they feel about the one over $1 million? Like that's kind of crazy.
She shows it off a lot, my mom,
Oh.
because it's like we never thought. We have a really close family friend who's in the NFL. His name's Bobby Okereke, um, who had a 4 point, I want to say like 4.8, and went to Stanford for football. So she showed it off to his mom first, and his mom couldn't believe it that you can go get offers for gaming. So then she showed off all her friends, put on her little Facebook page and Instagram and everything, and yeah, I mean, it kind of just now everybody knows. I can't
Yeah.
hide it anymore.
What
Yeah.
advice would you give to students about approaching parents about esports?
I never really went into this depth, but I forgot to say I used to be able to. I never was able to play during the week last year. And the only way they allowed me to do that was by showing results. If you want, especially with parents growing up, they none of them had esports. None of them had esports scholarships. If you really want to show them that you can do this, you need to be showing results. The first time they started letting me play, it was like an hour during the week. Like I could play all the time during the weekend, but 1 hour a day during the week was when I first got into Westcliff and showed them that because they knew that this is possible. And multiple parents would talk to me because most parents, there's some parents that 100% support their kids. The parents that are kind of skeptical, you will need to show them results. My mom used to talk to her friends, which my friends at the time were also grinding Fortnite. And my mom always said that I don't let him play that much. I don't know how he's doing this. And it's with whatever time you have, you need to make the most of it. Whether it's watching YouTube videos, working on your mental, because mental is as like big, if not bigger, than actually gaming. I recommend meditation if anyone gets anxiety. It helped me yesterday. I played one of the worst series of my life, and then just meditated because I was so mad. And it calmed me down, and I got to play another run, and that was great. Just relax. You're good, but you need to show results because your parents aren't going to believe you no matter what you're saying. And most of these colleges, honestly, when I was champ too, most of these colleges were still wanting me, no matter what your rank is. I'm pretty sure Stay Plugins helped plats, maybe even diamonds, get recruiting. So there's gonna be a place out there for you. And then once you can show your first results to your parents and say, look, show this, show this, show this, they should loosen up. If not, you just have to keep grinding on your own, and it'll work out in the end. Because worst comes to worst, they don't let up, but you can still go to college for esports, and you can just grind as much as you want at esports because that's what you're there for.
What are you most looking forward to about going to Siena Heights?
4 seasons. In Cali, we have 2 seasons: spring, summer, spring, summer. No, I'm kidding. The family out there is great. I've met every single player on their Rocket League team, and I vibe with every single one of them. Coach Rob's great. I just honestly want to get away from this like California lifestyle. Go live it out there. And I feel like no place was better than Siena Heights. Siena Heights, you can play other sports too if you want, which I've thought about, which is possibly an option. They have a great esports lab, which is huge, so I wouldn't have to bring my PC or anything. And then they also have just a great community. I've talked to their admission department and everything multiple times because of me just submitting my deposits. I had to pick my housing. I don't know, it's just all surreal. And Siena Heights was definitely the place to go.
Yeah, it's so exciting. What goals do you have for your first semester?
Siena Heights right now has a really great team. They have Bob, Kai, and 11s. 11s is crazy. That kid's on sub for 26 Rising. But my goal for the first semester is if I can't start, because the thing about Siena Heights is they have 3 really solid teams. If I can't start on the A team, I'll probably start on the B team, and I will make the B team as good as we possibly can. I've met the B team players. Decay, Kyle, I think he subbed for the A team this semester. Corwin, Jackson, I've met everybody, and I vibe with all of them, so I wouldn't care which team I put on as long as I could put on a show.
And then what does, like, from now until you start at Siena Heights, what does that look like? Are you going to be grinding the game as usual, taking a break, anything like that?
Well, yeah, I will definitely be grinding. So my class, I have 3 classes that I need to pass, even though I'd plan to keep my GPA up. I have 3 classes that I hope to get A's in because it's Econ. I already got a B+, A, and Gov, which are classes you need to pass. English, and then visual imagery, which helps me a lot because I make YouTube videos on the side and do videography. So my teacher knows, every of my teachers know. So I'm probably just going to focus on school mainly, expand, and honestly just try to get better because I don't want to go to Siena Heights and try to hold back my team. I want to be top 3, if not by the end of my senior year, top 1 on the team. So
yeah, that's super important. And then how do you feel, do you keep up with CRL?
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about the competition?
I'm so hyped. CRL was one of the main objectives. As you probably heard from my top 4 schools, 3 of them were CRL teams. Bruin Parker they kind of switched their roster up this year because CRL, the unexpected happens. So Bruin Parker had, when they made CRL, Melodic, Antics, and Soul, all great guys. But they switched to Sino this year, and just seeing them and playing against them was amazing. Playing with them, scrimming, seeing. And then Siena Heights also had a roster change, which they switched out Faded for Crazy Kai. Crazy Kai's a great guy. He was in the series I was in yesterday, which is kind of embarrassing because it was the first time I ever played with him, and I played awful. But it's fine. I don't know. The competition's actually wild because I'm not a pro by any means, not close. But a lot of the CRL schools are recruiting straight pro teams that don't, like, say Fisher. They have Sosa, Money, and all these people that are genuine pro players, and I'm just a kid from Foothill. So the competition will only be able to make me better. And then even on the West region, I'm in California, SoCal, and my mom actually goes to Cal State Fullerton, which Spuda's on. So that was definitely a big option. CRL is just amazing. The competition's the only thing that can beat the competition in CRL is the actual pro play. There's no other little leagues that can beat CRL, and that's what I'm grateful for.
Final question.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? You can shout yourself out. Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, anything like that?
Actually, okay, so my Twitter, I believe my Twitch, they're both it's FooJ, so ITSFOOJ. Um, I don't really post. I post on Twitter a lot. Twitch, I'm trying to stream a lot more scrims and everything. And then when it comes to um, TikTok, I don't stream a lot. I don't TikTok a lot, but I'm going to start because a team that I'm joining needs me to start making content. So the TikTok is I'm FooJ because I don't know. FooJ is usually taken or it's too short of a name, so I just have to put it's or I'm in front of it, and then YouTube, I believe if you look up FooJ, it'll pop up. If not, it's FooJ again. And then yeah, that's really all I use.